Creatine is naturally found in meat, poultry, and fish, making it a nutrient that plant-based eaters largely miss. While the body does produce creatine endogenously from amino acids like arginine, glycine, and methionine, the amount synthesized internally is often not enough to saturate the body's stores, especially under physically or mentally demanding conditions. For vegetarians and vegans, whose diets contain little to no dietary creatine, this deficit can have tangible effects on energy metabolism, exercise performance, cognitive function, and even mood stability. As more people adopt plant-based lifestyles for health, environmental, or ethical reasons, understanding creatine's unique role becomes increasingly important, not just for athletic performance, but for overall wellness. Research consistently shows that individuals who avoid animal products tend to have lower baseline levels of creatine in both muscle and brain tissue. This is unsurprising, since food is the primary external source of creatine, and the richest sources, beef, pork, poultry, and seafood, are absent in vegetarian and vegan diets. While internal synthesis does compensate to a degree, it may not be enough to meet the demands of modern life, especially for active individuals, students, shift workers, and aging adults. Lower tissue creatine stores translate into reduced ADP availability during times of high demand, which can impair both physical output and mental resilience. In athletic contexts, this difference is measurable. Studies have found that vegetarians and vegans may have reduced muscle creatine concentrations, which can lead to diminished short-term power output, slower recovery, and reduced training volume. Interestingly, when these individuals supplement with creatine, they often see greater performance gains compared to omnivores, likely because their baseline stores are lower, giving them more room to benefit. This means creatine supplementation is not only helpful, but potentially more impactful for those on a plant-based diet. But creatine's influence extends well beyond the gym. The brain is a major consumer of ADP, especially during tasks requiring focus, memory recall, or multitasking. Some research suggests that vegans and vegetarians may experience subtle reductions in cognitive performance, particularly under stress or sleep deprivation, and that creatine can help restore mental sharpness and reduce fatigue in these settings. For students, professionals, or anyone navigating high cognitive loads without the backup of dietary creatine, this support can be a quiet game changer. Moreover, mood regulation may also be influenced by creatine status. The synthesis and recycling of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine rely on ADP-driven processes. Some small trials have hinted that creatine supplementation can improve mood in individuals with low intake or elevated psychological stress, making it worth considering for plant-based individuals struggling with low energy or mood imbalances, especially during high-stress periods or hormonal transitions such as adolescence or perimenopause. It's important to note that while a plant-based diet can be nutritionally complete with proper planning, certain nutrients are simply more difficult to obtain without supplementation. Creatine is one of them. Unlike protein, iron, or B12, which can be carefully sourced or fortified in plant-based foods, creatine is virtually non-existent in plants. Algae and mushrooms contain trace amounts, but not in concentrations sufficient to make a difference. This makes creatine supplementation both practical and, in some cases, essential for those pursuing long-term vegan or vegetarian lifestyles. The good news is that creatine supplements are vegan-friendly. The creatine monohydrate found in most products is synthesized in laboratories from non-animal compounds, making it fully compatible with ethical dietary choices. A standard daily dose of 3 to 5 grams is typically enough to restore muscle and brain creatine levels to optimal levels over time. Unlike some nutrients that require precise timing or complex absorption strategies, creatine is easy to incorporate. Just mix it into water, smoothies, or a meal at any time of day. Still, there are cautions to keep in mind. Because creatine influences water retention in muscle tissue, some users may experience mild bloating or changes in body weight when first starting. This is typically water-related, not fat gain, and tends to stabilize within a few weeks. Hydration remains important, especially for those increasing their exercise intensity after supplementation. As always, individuals with kidney concerns or pre-existing medical conditions should consult with a healthcare provider before beginning any new supplement. In the broader context of plant-based nutrition, creatine represents a unique blind spot, one that doesn't get much attention but can quietly affect performance, mood, and metabolic efficiency. Supplementation doesn't conflict with plant-based values. And in fact, it can enhance the very goals that lead people to these diets in the first place: better health, higher vitality, and greater resilience. For vegans and vegetarians looking to thrive, not just survive, creatine is one of the smartest, safest, and most impactful tools available.